and then I will turn it back over to you. Okay, it says that we're streaming live. I'm gonna mute this really quick before I, because I made that mistake last time. Here we go. I'm going to mute this tab. And then, there it is. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this evening's award nominee readings. My name is Melissa Leilani Larson, and I am the incoming president of the Association for Mormon Letters. And I'm going to turn over this session to Andrew Hall, who's the Art Awards coordinator. So thanks very much for being here. And if you have questions or comments, go ahead and pop them in the chat. Thanks very much. Thanks, all yours, Andrew.
So today we have a wide variety of genres. We'll start with drama, theatrical works. We have one creative nonfiction. We have one comics. We have 3 poets and 3 picture books. So lots of great things. And several of them are going to be on video because they're visual genres like comic book or picture book, and the theater ones where they have actors reading them. So here, let me share the schedule. Okay, we'll start with the dramas with Mel Larson's Mountain Law. We'll do 3 dramas. Then I don't have Caitlin Meiters in here yet, but I'm gonna have her go after Melissa Leilani Larson's Mountain Law, if that's okay. So I'll get up a little slide for you as well. Okay, so we'll follow that. And there, let me pull up. Okay, Mel, did you want to say anything before I show you your video?
No, I don't think so. I'm in the video, so.
Good. There. Oh, actually, this is one I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to show the slide first. So first, we're going to do the drama finalists, and we have 3 of the. We have 4 works, and you know this is a COVID year, this 2020, and I was thinking, boy, maybe we won't even do it. There won't be enough dramas this year. Maybe we'll just do we'll do 2 years, and the year after next year, and we'll include whatever was done in 2020. But you know, drama cannot be stopped, and these authors found interesting ways to get their works done. Ariel's was actually performed early in the year, so before the pandemic got going, and so it was performed live. But I believe Mel's was done in a online reading. Glenn's was done, I believe, also in a reading. You can tell us about that. Tom's is actually was done in podcast form. So we said, all right, there's lots of great stuff. Let's go ahead and do it. So I'll stop that, and I will. Sorry. That's a video. Optimize it. Okay, here we go.
Hi, AML friends. This is Melissa Leilani Larson. I'm really glad to be able to share with you a short snippet from my play, Mountain Law. The play is inspired by the historical events surrounding Utah Territory's first murder trial. It takes place in the late 1840s in the West Desert outside of Salt Lake City. And at this moment in the play, the scene I'm going to share with you, Tamsin, our protagonist, is in a bit of a desperate situation. She's been waiting for months and months for other settlers to join her in Ruby Valley, and none have come. She's been alone with 3 small children for almost 18 months, and food is running out, and she is not sure what's to do next. The scene you're going to see is read by some wonderful actors. Leslie Larson will be reading Tamsin, Ben Stoll will be reading James, and Rowan Walker will be reading the stage directions. Thanks very much. Hope you enjoy.
May 1849. A passage of time. Birdsong, wind, sun, rain, snow. Tamsin works, cleans, plants, hauls, milks, feeds, digs, notches, but the work is harder, the ground unforgiving. Summer, fall, winter, spring, no, winter. The ground is stone. The wind is made of knives. The cupboards are bare. Winter. Tamsin can't keep warm. She is scattered, gaunt, desperate. The wind is low tonight. Low and raw and guttural. November 1849.
A hen is all we have left, and she's not laying. No eggs, no chicks, not
The canary trills.
I have nothing left to give you, Languish. I don't think I can offer you chicken. That wouldn't be kind.
There is a sudden pounding on the door.
Hello? Is anyone here? Hello?
James Murphy comes in, carrying a wooden crate, snow frosting his hat and coat. He sets the crate down by the door.
Tamsin English. My word.
Howard? Is that you?
No, I'm sorry, it's not... I didn't mean to burst in, but I saw light through the window and the door wasn't latched.
I've given up latching it. There's no one else, no one to keep out, except... Are you Death? Come to collect me. I've been very patient.
No. Tamsin, it's James.
James.
Yep. Yes. My brother's opened a mercantile in Great Salt Lake. I took him a load of supplies and met Catherine in the valley. She said you were out here. Somewhere.
James Murphy.
Yes. You remember.
How could I forget? You have the softest hands I've ever felt on a man. Shaking your hand made for a pleasant surprise.
How are you? You look... are you out here on your own?
Howard is in California. At least that's where he was headed when he left. I never thought I'd see you again.
I went home to New York as you told me to. You were right. I had to clear my head, reconsider some things.
The phrase you used was school your passions. It was almost a compliment.
When I came back to Nauvoo, most of the Saints were already on their way west.
We were in the second company. Howard, of course, went with the first company alongside Brigham while I waited with the boys at winter quarters. Brigham depends on him so. Sometimes I wish Howard would disappoint him, just a little. Then maybe he'd be home more often.
You're almost 300 miles from Great Salt Lake.
Brigham sent us. Catherine envied me coming here. Can you imagine? They are all in Great Salt Lake while I am here to keep watch.
Keep watch? Over what?
Nothing. There is nothing here. So much nothing that it is exhausting. The black of night is so complete. We never talk about how eternity could just be the void. Black as far as you can see. That's what it's like here. And yet, when the sun is high, you can't imagine a brighter place in all the world.
You're here. That's something. I've seldom gone a day without thinking of you.
It's strange. I'm fairly certain I've gone quite a number of days without thinking on you. You're probably the last person I expected to come through that door. Oh! We should celebrate.
She exits. Chickens scramble. A loud squawk and then silence. Tamsin re-enters carrying a dead chicken, its broken neck gripped in her fist. In her other hand, she carries a revolver.
For you, Brother James. Howard won't mind. He's not here to mind.
Perplexed, he reaches awkwardly for the chicken. She holds up the gun.
What's that gun for?
I was going to kill myself today, but now that you're here, I'll try not to.
Again, she offers him the gun. This time he takes it.
Why would you do such a thing?
Howard's been gone more than 18 months now. I haven't had a letter from him or from anyone. And the wind won't stop. It just rushes through the valley like a stream in its bed. There's no stopping it, no hushing it. You would think a place like this would be quiet, but no. Charles won't leave me be, won't let me sleep. There have been days I've thought about walking back, but it would take weeks, and I have no provisions. I thought about sending the boys back on our own, but that wouldn't work. At least here, there's a roof and chickens. Well, there were chickens. Poor Gladys.
She puts the hen on the table, takes up a small hatchet, and chops off its head.
Poor Gladys.
Amen.
I didn't know we had a settlement in Ruby Valley.
I am the settlement.
That can't be right.
There were supposed to be other settlers, and then Howard would return, but no one has come. Before you, anyway.
I can't imagine how you survived on your own for so long.
I have the boys. And Charles.
Charles.
He likes to talk to me. Such a chatterbox.
Tamsin. Charles is dead.
James, why are you here?
I haven't been able to stop thinking of you.
You tried.
I did. For 5 years. Yet here I am.
The answer to a prayer.
I came knowing full well that Howard was gone, but I had no idea what it was like for you out here. I didn't realize how bad. I can help you if you'll let me.
No.
Tamsin,
No.
But I have a wagon full of provisions outside. Salt pork and flour and even a bit of sugar.
Sugar.
Yes, a couple pounds of it.
They say when it rains, it pours.
I want to take care of you.
Not you. It can't be you.
Why not?
Look at this place. Don't you see? I'm imprisoned here because of you. Because of Charles. It's my penance and it must be paid.
Penance? That's ridiculous.
Don't mock me. Not for this. You don't know. You have no idea what I've been through.
You don't have to be alone.
No! You stay away. This is a test. This is God testing my mettle. I asked him to save us and he sent you. Yeah, it's almost funny. You went to New York and I came here. I should have never seen you again, but this. You have to go.
James goes to the door and picks up the box he brought in. He sets the box beside Tamsin. He takes each item out of the box, one at a time, laying it in front of her on the table as he names it. Each word is a kiss.
Flour, cornmeal, sugar, English tea, a bit of candy for the youngsters. Of course, if we eat it now, the boys will never know.
He opens a small brown paper bag. Peppermints. Holds one out to her. She hesitates, but reaches for it. He covers her hand with his.
It's not a sin to survive. And you won't survive without me.
Thank you, Mel, and thank you to your actors. We're going to take a break from the theater for a minute, and here, let me share screen again. Here, I'll do this. And hear from, no, that was Neil's last time. Here we go. From Caitlin Meyer, who'll be reading from her memoir, Wiving, a memoir of loving, then leaving the patriarchy. Caitlin grew up in a half-finished mountainside house in Provo, Utah, the youngest of a chaotic family of 6 children, a poet mother and an artist father. She founded the San Francisco literary reading series, Portuguese Artist Colony, and its publishing spinoff, Pack Books, where she served as editor. Skipping a little bit, she has appeared in storytelling series such as Porchlight and The Moth, and was featured on NPR's The Moth Radio Hour with her real-life story, Near Misses. She currently lives in Portugal. Caitlin, go ahead.
Thanks, Andrew. As Andrew mentioned, this is an excerpt from my memoir, Wiving. And I'm just gonna dive in. 1974. Provo lies at the bottom of a bowl of hulking mountains. My childhood house sits at the foot of Y Mountain, painted with a white Y halfway to the summit. You live here and mountains become backdrop, but every now and then you see them new again, unreasonably huge creatures ringing the valley. Growing up here, I heard them creak and shift at night. Belief in God comes easy with these omnipresent beings lurking over your shoulder. The mountains listen in on your secret thoughts. They judge your every move like the High Council, suited and tied and disapproving. Like them, the landscape talks in a man's voice, dry and stingy with greens, lawns a luxury, coaxed out of the soil only with constant drenchings. My family is a crowd. We are dad and mom. We are my sister Lita, who is oldest, 10 years ahead of me. 4 brothers, Jonah, Luke, Jacob, Micah. I'm the youngest. Sunday mornings are cold cereal at the long wooden table. My brothers in a belching contest, faces sleek creased, hair sticking up. Cold leaks in through our huge single pane living room windows. I stand over the heat register and hot air bellies up my nightgown. I put my hands lightly over the bulge. Look, Lita, I'm pregnant, I say. After breakfast, my sister unrolls my pink sponge curlers, pulls a ringlet long, and together we watch it bounce into place. I put on my Sunday dress, hot pink taffeta trimmed with pink and white flowers. Mom emerges from her bedroom in a black slip over a bra, over white garments, a halo of Chanel No. 5. She steps softly to the bathroom. Mom hasn't been to church in many weeks. She leans to wipe steam from the mirror, lips stretched over teeth while she mascaras her lashes. Sweat hurries down her face, licks her short hair into curls at her nape, and she blows out a gust of breath. Time for my distemper shot, says Mom, laughing down at her mascara wand. Distemper shot is what she calls hormone replacement. She had a hysterectomy shortly after I was born. I'll remember you this way, Mom. One day, when a hot flash rises through my body, eyeballs cooking in their sockets, I will see you again, leaning into your reflection, lace at the bottom of your black slip, bare feet on the bathroom floor. A drop of sweat runs down the side of your face and holds shining at the point of your chin. Mom places her hands delicately on the bathroom counter as if to steady herself. She is balanced at a decision, church or no. She lifts her chin, turns her face to one side, flirting with her reflection. Church wins. Today, she'll come with us. As we load into the VW bus, Mom stops me with a hand on my shoulder. She licks her thumb and rubs my face clean. Ew, Mom, I say. I hate the smell of her spit drying on my face. You can't go to church looking like an urchin, she says. At sacrament meeting, we take up 6 kids makes us only a medium-sized family in Provo. There are 2 12-child families in our neighborhood and one with 16. One wife in each family, one woman constantly pregnant for over 20 years, pumping out child after child after child. My hair grips its way to Dad's suit and sticks to his sleeve, a blind, tentacled sea creature. He sweeps a hand down his arm to detach me. I make a whispering giggle and gather my hair behind, pin it against the back of the pew with my body. After church, the 12-year-old deacons scramble outside to throw snowballs in the parking lot. A car pulls out of its parking space, crunching over snow, and my brother Luke crouches to grab the back bumper. The driver creeps down the road and Luke is pulled behind, slick Sunday shoes sliding over icy streets. Luke in his dark suit and winter coat, tie flipping up and over his shoulder. A forbidden thrill, but irresistible to all the neighborhood boys. Dad doesn't notice. I climb into the bus with the rest of the family and Dad starts toward Cherry Lane. No, Dad, Micah and Jacob and Jonah and I all protest at once. That's the old fogey way, says Jonah. What's wrong with old fogies? I'm an old fogey, says Dad, waggling his eyebrows at us. But he's steering us in the other direction. We can see the slow march of cars going the old fogey way while we break free to the left, cheering. I am not convinced this route is faster, but my brothers have pronounced it so, and they know everything that I do not. Oh, Dad, says Lita, you're a young fogey. They seem old to me, but Dad and Mom are still so young. 6 kids, and Dad isn't even 40 yet. Mom has placed her fingertips over her closed eyes, a crease growing between her brows. Getting a headache, says Dad. She says, mouth working like she's sucking on a candy. Home is the smell of roast and church shoes kicked off savagely. Other families change out of their church clothes, but we eat in them, and my brothers open their full mouths to show seafood. Then we do the dishes and roughhouse and spill gravy on our Sunday finery. We rotate Sunday dinners between the 6 of us, 1 kid in charge of the whole shebang, roast and potatoes in the oven before church, and dishes afterward. For a time, all 6 of us made Sunday dinner together and cleaned up together in a mad squirming knot in the kitchen. But we are too big, the kitchen too small, and Sunday dishes deteriorate into escalating hostile games of stop touching me, not touching you, as my brothers wrestle into the living room, booming the floor and shaking the house until Dad yells, simmer down. And if it goes on, Dad boils down the hall, head gone deep red, jingling his belt buckle. Blast, which is a terror-filled word from Dad, who does not swear. Dinner is on the table, but church was too much. Mom has retreated to the dark of her bedroom where Dad brings her a plate. She turns over in bed toward him, devoting to Dad her last crumb of energy. The music is dead in her voice. It pulls low and slow from her center, each word a moan. Dad's answering tone is careful gentleness, the way you talk someone off a ledge. This is normal. This is just how Mom is on bad days. When she's in the bedroom with the door closed, you do not knock, you do not go in. She is like this for days or weeks or months, and then one day the door will open. On Saturday morning, sunlight spills through the open door into the hallway. We all pile into bed with Mom and Dad, and she says, this is why we wanted a king-size bed, so we could all fit. Her eyes are shining crescents. All 6 of us kids have the same eyes, almost disappearing when we smile. She buries her nose into Micah's blonde hair, her youngest son and everyone's favorite, and he laughs and squirms. She pulls Jacob close on her other side. Sponge babies, she says, are always the sweetest. She's talking about the birth control she was using when Jacob was conceived, when I was conceived. He and I were sweet babies, and we are sweet children. Although I can't articulate it, I know already that sweetness is more important in a girl than in a boy. It's what I have going for me. I am sweet and I am cheerful and I stay where I am, but I want to crawl over my brothers' bodies, squeeze in beside Mom. I want to burrow my head into her guts. I want to pry open her lips, stuff my hands in her mouth. I want to print her smiling face on my insides, place her in me like a moon, smiling, smiling, until I'm stuffed over full with her. I want to own her. I want to obliterate her.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you.
So that was one of the creative nonfiction finalists. Caitlin joined us from Portugal, so we really appreciate that. Okay, back to the drama finalists. Ariel Mitchell, Give Me Moonlight, which Ariel, I don't believe is here with us today. She can join us, but she's in the video. So I will play that now.
Hello, I'm Ariel Mitchell, the writer of Give Me Moonlight. Give Me Moonlight is a surrealist retelling of the history of Scotty's Castle, a mansion built in the middle of Death Valley by Bessie and Albert Johnson. In the show, this couple wrestles with the life that comes after happily ever after, an accident that cripples one, an inability for the other to bear children, and a future that no one could have foreseen. I hope you enjoy this short monologue by the brilliant Holly Gibbs from Give Me Moonlight.
Where will you go? I care, Ella. Truly, I do. Maybe it's for the best. You said it yourself. The home you build with that man will be anything but healthy. You said it yourself. He wants you to be anything but who you truly are. We're here for you. We are... Really? Family stays. Family tries. Family sticks by you through thick and thin. If he's family, where is he? Leave him. Let him go. Start a life of your own. He doesn't want to be a part of it, so don't let him hold you back. You asked for honesty. You don't have to raise Walter alone. You could stay here. We have plenty of room. And there are good schools in Chicago. We'll pay for Walter's education, clothes, food, travel, whatever he needs. No. I'm not trying to buy your baby. Never. I'm not. No. I thought... It was too early to tell. I never felt her or him. I never felt her on the inside like you. But I felt her. You know? I had a child. I had a future growing inside of me. For a few weeks. It's funny, really, but I knew. I felt her. I can't explain it. It was so certain and physical, the change, the nausea, that she was real. And then the blood came. It's too much blood. You don't just lose a person, you lose an entire future. I can't give that to my child, but I could give it to yours. I want to make sure that the baby, that Walter, has a good home. Well, I have means. A stable situation, a husband that can take care of us. He is not a cripple. He'll get better. If he goes to the valley, sees all that he can do, maybe both our husbands could change. Don't you believe in miracles?
Thank you, Ariel and Holly. Okay, next we will hear from Glenn Nelson, who's going to talk about and show some clips of his opera, The Captivity of Hannah Dunston. Glenn was wrote the libretto, and Lansing McCloskey wrote the music. Glenn is the author of 33 books, as well as essays, articles, short fiction, and poetry. As a ghostwriter, 3 of his books have become nonfiction New York Times bestsellers. He co-curated the museum exhibition, Joseph Paul Vorst, a retrospective at the Church History Museum in Salt Lake City. In 1999, he founded Mormon Artist Group, where he published 31 projects and collaborations with 82 artists. He has written the librettos for 3 operas by the composer Murray Boren, Book of Gold, The Dead, and The Singer's Romance. He is the co-executive director and co-founder of the Center for Latter-day Saints Arts. He hosts a monthly podcast, the Center Studio Podcast, which is also a finalist in the new podcast category of the AML Awards. So Glenn, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Andrew. I feel really honored to be recognized by the Association for Mormon Letters. It's really nice to see your faces after seeing you just on email for such a long time. So as you mentioned, this is a project that Lansing McCloskey, the composer, and I worked on. It was a commission by a company outside of Boston in Massachusetts. Lansing wished he could be here tonight as well, but he's busy composing a new work that we're working on, and he's in some crazy retreat in some place in Northern California that has no Wi-Fi access. That's how he gets things done, apparently. So let me tell you a tiny bit about this opera. It's a chamber opera. The title of it is The Captivity of Hannah Duston. As some of you might know Hannah Duston's story, she's the first American woman to have a statue in her honor erected. She ended up with about 7 different monuments about her. In the late, it was in around 1694, 95, there was a war, and she was abducted, as well as her infant child and nursemaid, by Abenaki peoples outside of Boston in a town called Haverhill. And it was such a famous story. She went with these people. They killed her child. She ended up escaping and killing her captors. She returned back to Massachusetts and received a hero's welcome. So for the next 150 years or so, this story, among many other kinds of captivity narratives, were really well known in America, and children learned to read by learning these stories as well as Bible stories. And a whole series of authors wrote this same story again and again and again. Our opera then uses their stories, Cotton Mather, John Greenleaf Whittier, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Henry David Thoreau, and Sarah Josepha Hale, sort of Rashomon-like, telling the same story again and again. But the thing is, the later authors started saying, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this story. Like, is she really a hero? Did she do things that were unacceptable? And so in the situation we find ourselves in now, with toppling monuments and canceling culture and really revisiting what history is, this opera then is all about that. Who gets to tell history? What is truth? Who is represented as somebody worthwhile? So what I thought I would do then is, this opera was supposed to be performed about now, unfortunately, and it was COVID delayed, but the company did manage to do a reading of the prologue and the first scene. So what I'd like to do is just share a screen and play about 5 minutes of the prologue. It has subtitles, so opera sometimes can be a little difficult to understand, so this should be relatively straightforward. Let's see if I can share screen. All right, somebody will tell me if this isn't working, but I think it is. All right, and so this is just the prologue for 4 singers and a chamber orchestra.
last release show episodes of the Heroes. I have no need. Husband's rescue of the children. Standing over the bodies of slain captives and taught to triumphant return. The is on the forward side of the heaven sent to congregational church. Was the very first woman in America to be memorialized with a statue. A century after her death, was already controversial. She had been called a hero, a martyr, a symbol, a racist, a victim. A story.
And I think that's where we'll leave it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Glenn. All right, now we're going to move to the, yes, we're gonna move to the poets now and show this for a sec. Oh, don't leave me, don't press that button. Press the share button, there you go. Okay, so we have 4 poetry finalists and Michael Collins couldn't be with us here today, which is too bad. He's a real veteran in the poetry, done some really great epic poetry and kind of using older forms to tell LDS stories, very interesting things. But we're very happy to have Gabriel, Melody, and Dana here with us today. And let's stop sharing that. First, we'll hear from Gabriel Gonzalez Nunez, reading from his collection Ese Golpe de Luz. Gabriel is a professor at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, where he trains translators and interpreters. He earned his PhD in translation studies at Leuven. He's the founder of the Spanish Mormon Literature Association, La Confradia de Letras Mormanas, and editor of its newsletter, El Pregonero de Deseret. He's the author of Estampas del Libro de Mormon, a lyrical first-person character sketches depicting different Book of Mormon figures, a set of children's books, including Me Llamo Juana. And this collection is the first Spanish language work ever to be an AML Award finalist. Gabriel, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm really quite honored to be here. Quite surprised to be here as well. And like Andrew said, this is a Spanish language collection. And so I don't know how many of you speak Spanish, so I hope that when I read the poems that there's a certain rhythm and musicality to them that will come across. Let me just give you like a brief outline of the poems I will read. The first one's called Busco Decirte, something along the lines of I'm trying to tell you. And it's about a man trying to tell his wife, his beloved, how much he loves her, but love isn't like in the movies. It's, you know, in the everyday boring stuff. Busco decirte cuánto te quiero, de verdad. no cuánto te quiero en flores o en estrellas, en soles o en mares, sino de verdad. Busco decirte cuánto te quiero cada vez que te pones a lavar los platos, pero me distraigo doblando la ropa. Cuánto te quiero cada vez que pones a hervir agua para los fideos, pero me ocupo ordenando el living. Busco decirte cuánto te quiero cada vez que te sentás con las niñas a ayudarlas con los deberes, pero se me pasan las horas frente al teclado en el trabajo. Cuánto te quiero cada vez que te levantás temprano a aprontar a las niñas, pero las palabras se me olvidan preparándote el mate. Busco decirte cuánto te quiero cuando de noche nos sentamos a ver la tele, pero en vez me pongo a acariciarte la espalda. Busco decirte cuánto te quiero cuando pasan los años y la cintura se nos ensancha y los huesos se nos ablandan. Busco decirte en una palabra, no te quiero flores y estrellas, soles y mares, sino que te quiero suelas gastadas y losas quebradas, fines de mes apretados y aguinaldos anhelados, plegarias bajo la luna y canciones junto a la cuna, conversaciones consecuentes y momentos intrascendentes. Busco decirte que te quiero no con el amor del cine, sino con el amor del que dice, aquí estoy y a esto vine, con el amor que se hace caminando y conversando, creando y criando, creyendo y siendo. Es decir, busco decirte cuánto te quiero, de verdad. Okay, so that's one. Here's another one. It's called Sin Lugar a Dudas, something along the lines of, there's no doubt about it, or without any room for doubt. The name of the book actually is a line in this poem, but not the title line. And it's about how life is really quite short, but it's like a blast of light that didn't actually start when we were born and goes on somewhere else. Sin lugar a dudas. Esta fugaz existencia es el fogonazo flotante de un faro en la noche sin confines. Es ruido entre dos silencios, es luz, o mejor dicho, es un bemol visible. Visto esto, vista ella, sin lugar a dudas, lo importante vendría a ser la vida, ¿verdad? Y en ese destello que transcurre entre el primer llanto expectante y el último suspiro vacilante, todos vivimos como si algo, como si alguien. El nacimiento, esa muerte necesaria, nos inicia en el sendero de llantos sentidos, risas y placeres sufridos, que nos lleva de regreso a la muerte, ese nacimiento insalvable. Durante esos instantes terrenales, descubrimos que los sueños nos alegran de noche, que los niños dan trabajo y alegran, que las pesadillas nos aterran de día, que los viejos dan trabajo y entristecen, que el hoy es el ayer del mañana. Algunos nos enamoramos 7 veces, 7 veces 7. Algunos nos enamoramos una vez, para la vida toda. Otros no nos enamoramos. Todos regalamos mentiras por piedad. Todos escondemos rencores en el desván. Hay quienes llegan a odiar. Somos, en fin, bandadas de rarae aves, rasando en eternos giros insospechables en el fondo del cielo. Todo entre un llanto y un suspiro de luz. Ese golpe de luz, vale decir, la luz de ese golpe, de algún lado viene y a alguna parte va. Fue una corriente invisible antes de su luminoso estallido, y aunque pronto se desvanezca de la memoria de la retina, seguirá en su viaje de energía y partícula hasta los confines de la noche sin confines. And I should say that not these first 2 poems, but most of the poems on here purposely use old lyrical forms. So you got like haikus and you got sonnets and lyrical forms that are sort of common in the Spanish language tradition that no poet uses nowadays. But I wanted to do that purposely. So this next one is a sonnet, a Petrarchan sonnet, which is the Spanish, the dominant form of Spanish sonnets. It's called Nauvoo, and it's about, well, it really is about the day I got married to my wife in the Nauvoo temple, and it was December 23rd. It was very cold. The Mississippi had frozen over for the first time in, I don't know, decades, somebody told me. So everything was like frozen solid. And that's where the sonnet sort of describes that moment when you walk out of the temple. So Nauvoo, or I should say Nauvoo. Blanco despierta el pueblo bien helado, Blanca la mañana abre en su pureza. Blanca la neblina flota en pereza. Blanco reluce el río congelado. Blanco resplandece el templo sagrado. Blanca tu capa de nueva princesa. Blanca tu mirada de real alteza. Blanco el sí por ti pronunciado. Dando unos pasos atrás ya dejamos el templo bordeado por un halo y el horizonte juntos contemplamos. Hacia algún lugar que a ver no alcanzamos, con un dedo esperanzado señalo y te susurro al oído, allá vamos. Well, I think that's about it in terms of the allotted time. So thank you for listening. And once again, it's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. Next, we'll hear from Melody Newey Johnson, reading from her collection, An Imperfect Roundness. Melody's poems have been published in Dialogue, Exponent 2, Ariantum, and elsewhere. She's currently poetry editor for Seagull Journal and was previously poetry editor for Exponent 2. She is creator of Living Well, Retreat to Self, a women's writing retreat, and she earns a living as a registered nurse in Utah. Melody, go ahead.
Thank you, Andrew. And thank you, everyone who joined this evening. I live in Salt Lake City, and every now and again, the Great Salt Lake feels just a little bit like the ocean. This poem is called Inland. Inland. The ocean came in this morning on a gust of wind. 1,000 miles inland, it lapped against foothills of the Rockies. Now, seagulls are crying, calling for their mother. Now, a memory of my children tasting salted sand takes me out with the receding tide. That was a moment when I was up at the University of Utah and I had this whiff of what I thought was the ocean. But it was the Great Salt Lake. This poem, this book, by the way, is a collection basically of meditations. This poem is about God and what she might be like. And it begins in our pre-earth life and then references a trip to mortality. It's called God is a Farmer's Wife. She's been awake since 5 because it's her nature, and breakfast will be ready when you come. She knows every recipe by heart. She knows the sound of your feet moving down the hall toward the kitchen across those few creaky boards, knows your sisters' and brothers' sound too, because every footfall bears witness of its own. She is warm and round and strong, and when she speaks, the sun begins to rise. She wakes it for you. Yesterday, she plowed fields and fed horses in the middle of the day while you slept because you were tired. When the time comes to dream yourself away from this place, she won't forget the sound of your feet, your quiet breathing. When you go, she'll bless your skin to remember the warm, round sun, your mind to recall the smell of earth, even if you forget the plow, even if the ground is too hard. She wants you to go. Find your way, to learn the way horses whinny, each in their own voice. You'll breathe their sweet aroma up close, no two alike. She knows them like she knows you. And she knows the ground they cover when they run. Every steep, every valley, she hears them when she sleeps. She hears the grain as it grows to feed them, the music it makes, brushing the palms of your hands when you pass through before or after quail who run unseen below, and your hips. She knows how the grain flicks against them like a horse's tail. She wants you to listen for her in whinny and hoof, in tail swish and quail scurry, to taste the song the chick would have sung if it hadn't been made into scrambled eggs for your breakfast. She wants you to remember her soft apron, how the colors stay bright even after infinite wearings in the kitchen or at the plow. She won't miss you when you're gone because you are never gone. The floor still squeaks where your feet found their hold in the morning, your feet, when they were soft and barely awake. The next poem is a psalm, but it is written in the voice of Jesus to us instead of the other way around. It's called Be Still. Come to the temple of silence, away from sounds of weary want, from the grinding, tearing of time. Come away from shouting daylight. Find me in the stillness of afternoon, your ordinary afternoon. Put down your swords, your plowshares. Take up my burden, quiet, easy. Carry it beneath your arm with flute and mandolin. Carry it in your heart beside memories of your mother and apple-red trees in summer. Whisper my name, then listen. Listen perhaps for a very long time, or only for a heartbeat. And I will tell you who I am, who you are, and show you where we meet, in you, the holy place.
Okay, thank you, Melody. That was great.
Thank you.
Our last poet is Dana Patterson, reading from her collection, If Mother Braids a Waterfall. Dana is the author of the previous poetry chapbook, Titania in Yellow. That's the character from Midsummer's Night's Dream. Why can't I say the name? Titania. She is the founding co-editor-chief of the poetry journal Psaltery and Lyre, and a co-editor of Dove Song, Heavenly Mother in Mormon Poetry, which previously won an AML award. Dana, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Andrew, and everybody who's worked to organize these awards and this ceremony. And I appreciate so much the readings that I've heard this evening have just been absolutely amazing. And now I'm like, I need to go see that play and finish listening to that opera and read that book. And Gabriel, you're inspiring me to brush up my Spanish. It's not good enough. And Melody, I love your poems. You know that. You know that I love all of your work. And I'm glad that you shared God as a Farmer's Wife, because that's one of my favorites. I'm going to share two poems. Melody inspired me to read this one first. So this is Elo Her. You caterpillar across the page of our thoughts. Flight is imminent. Wings are more than metaphor. If father is sun and sun is moon, you are salt on a black tablecloth. You season everything, hurtle millions of light years to be near us. You are spores, snowflakes, particles of yellow pollen. You are aspen saplings, diamonds forged in darkness, grains of sand under oyster tongues. Your neutrons, your sea foam, your motes of dust spinning in a shaft of afternoon light. We're mammal, still look for you against our cheek. We're marsupial, barely weaned from the pouch. We're reptile, straining against the skin of our eggs to reveal your face. I'm going to share one more poem from this collection. Because it's Pride Month and I see Carolyn is out here. The heart of this book is my mom's coming out, and the book details, when she revealed that to me. I look at my ancestors' conversion and also examine kind of my deconversion. But one of the books that my mom handed to me was No More Goodbyes. And she also gave me Goodbye, I Love You. And at the heart of this collection is this poem to my mother and it is called Dear Mom. December lady, the day you came out to me, I was in my hibernacle, so comfortable in the warm smell of my own pelt and the cave's dry envelope where I slept in a ball, dreaming of silver fish and spring. You startled me awake with your crunching feet, bearing news through a fresh fall. I had smelled winter from my hideaway, but you took me by the paw. Accustomed to dark, my eyes sought blindly. Snow sheathed the pine needles. You showed me what I'd slept through at every hint of frost. Snow sculpted into waves. No doubt, you feared the probability of my bite, my claws. Snow fell soft, each flake filigreed, scintillant. You're human, after all, and one swipe could have finished you. I took off my thick coat, felt cold's blow, what you'd borne these hush-mouth years. I yanked teeth from my jaws, how sharp, tore razors from my fingers, how many cuts, left den behind, shoulder to shoulder in my ample fur. You teach me to forage for winterberry and root. No need to devour your heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Wonderful. Now we're going to move on to some visual genres. First, comics. Poetry, comics. We have 4 comics finalists. Only one of them is here with us today. Andrew Knopp. Andrew, is that how you pronounce your name?
Knopp, actually.
Knopp. Should put the K on there. Okay. Andrew Knopp and Sal Voluto's Pillar of Light, Joseph Smith's first vision. And let me read the introduction. Andrew graduated from BYU with a BFA in Visual Arts Design, Illustration, and has worked in the fields of LDS books since 2003, where he helped to write, art direct, and research the Book of Mormon on Trial. He also helped to adapt the Golden Plates graphic novels by the Allreds. He lives in Utah. Sal Voluto, an Italian-born Utah resident, has been working for all the major American comic publishers, including Marvel, DC, and Valiant, since 1986. He drew 34 issues of Marvel's Black Panther, becoming the most prolific artist of that title, and some of his design ideas were re-elaborated and used in the Oscar-winning movie. From 2007 to 2010, he illustrated stories from the lives of the prophets for The Friend magazine, and since 2007, he's been illustrating The Phantom, the grandfather of all modern superheroes. So Andrew's here with us. Oh, and so I have a video. That's right. Let me get that. Andrew, do you want to say anything about it while I get the video set up?
This was our trying to talk a little bit about how much detail went into every page. It just talks about the first couple pages. And for time reasons, it's only 10 minutes, but we tried to make every page just packed with information and value. So hope you like it.
Oh, where is it? Let's see. Why don't I have it? I thought I had it. Okay, Andrew, I'm going to come back to you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We will get this. Hold on. Let me do a picture book, and then we'll come back to this. Too many videos today. Okay. Then we'll come back to that, but we also have picture books, 4 finalists for that, and 3 of them are here with us today and who provided videos for us. And the first one is You'll Find Me by Amanda Rawson Hill. Let me show that, and I'll try to find the other video. Share. Share screen. I'm sorry. Okay.
Hi, my name is Amanda Rawson-Hill, and I'm the author of You'll Find Me. And I am going to try to show you the pictures as best I can, illustrated by the fabulous Joanne Louvre-Toff. My dear one, life like spring is far too short. I will not always be greeting the morning with you, but you'll find me in the soft sounds of slippered feet, the smell of breakfast tickling your nose, the way the sun spills into your window whispering, "Get up, sleepyhead." I will not always be holding you tight on my lap on our favorite chair, but you'll find me in the curve of the cushion, the first notes of a familiar song, the satisfaction of finishing a really good book, something being sipped and savored. Even though you won't always see me waving from the crowd, you'll find me in other ways. The deep breaths at the beginning, the burst of speed at the finish. I'll be in every cheer and you can do it, even when they're said by lips that aren't mine. Every hug that warms you or lifts you off your feet. Every loving glance from eyes that truly see. A listening ear that hears when you're in need. They all will hold a part of me. I will not always be around the table for dinners and holidays. But you'll find me in the flicker of candlelight, the pause between please and thank you, the feel of sprinkles in your palm, the tinkling of silverware and laughter. I will not always be tucking you in and saying goodnight, but you'll find me in the touch of covers under your chin, a wish, a story, a lullaby, a sliver of moonlight falling across your face, that space between waking and dreaming. If you learn to watch with your heart, you'll find me all around, in the sigh of spring, a gentle hair-ruffling breeze, the soothing shade of your favorite tree. My love will always be, and as long as you look with more than just your eyes, you'll find me. The end.
Thank you, Amanda. Okay, I found the video for Andrew and Sal. So I will get that going now. So this is for the comic Pillar of Light.
Hi, it's Andrew Knopp here with
Salve Luto.
And we want to do a little video and tell you a little bit about some of the fun things that we've learned and appreciated and why we're doing the project the way we are. And we thought we'd start off by talking about page 1 and 2.
Yes, we'd like to start with the opening pages of our graphic novel, Pillar of Light. We're going to tell you some of the tricks and even some of the Easter eggs that we have hidden in these pages. So Andrew, why did you decide to start with this scene?
Yeah, in movies, I've noticed this this technique of starting sort of at the end of the story and then flashing back, and it kind of captures the reader or the viewer's interest because what happened here? Tell me the story. How did we get to this point? And to me, having Joseph Smith waking up, coming out of the exhaustion that he would have experienced after having this vision, and then telling you, you know, it took me a while to get enough strength to go home, but I felt all this joy and all this happiness that lasted for days. It makes the viewer go, what happened? Why is he feeling this way? And I have these great beams of light that Sal illustrated here, and then these are fireflies, these dots of light. And later in the book, you learn kind of why the fireflies are a symbol of enlightenment.
And for me, the challenge at this point was to convey the sense of Joseph waking up. So I couldn't do that just, you know, in one panel. It has to be like progressive. In this way, I create the pace of reading. And so I show that gradually, you know, from the position, the initial position to him, you know, with his face turned to the sky, which then matches the following panel. And I have to show this as the establishing shot, which tells us where the action is taking, where the scene is taking place, in order for the reader to know where we're at. But at the same time, I had to show the feelings and the expressions in Joseph's face, especially when he talks about the sense of peace that he had in that moment of awakening, or, you know, becoming again conscious after this incredible experience. So the sense of place and the sense of feelings are very important. And we're starting with these two powerful messages that we are conveying. And another thing that I needed to establish is the fact that he's inside an open space, a clearing in what we now call the sacred grove. That clearing was not a natural clearing, but was a place that actually they had, the Smith family, they had done, you know, they worked on the before. Not very many people know that the sacred grove was indeed part of the Smith family farm. And in that place, they had what, Andrew?
Maple trees. So part of their income and also their food was to produce maple sugar from the maple trees. And part of maple sugaring they have to do is they tap the trees, and then you have to collect the maple syrup from the tree that you then boil. Maple sap, I guess, is probably what it is at that point. And then you have to keep these fires burning for like 24 hours to refine the maple and get the syrup or the sugar off of it. And if you don't, it goes sour. It only has a very limited lifespan. So the way they heated these things was with wood. So it's very possible that Joseph was clearing this wood and cutting down wood for fuel for their maple syrup that was going on in that same period in early spring. Now, we don't know 100%, but there's a lot of indications that was what they were making fuel for, to keep the fires burning for the maple syrup.
But one indication we have for sure, which is from one of the accounts, is that, you know, the previous day they had been working in that area, and Joseph decided to go intentionally to that area because he remembered that was the place where his father, he was working with his father, and where he left his axe on a stump. So it was, that's why, you know, this long talk just to tell you that's the reason why I have the clearing and I have the axe on the stump. Now this will come back again in later on in the narration. You'll see, this kind of setting again. But I needed to have that as the introduction, even though those elements are not understood yet. They needed to be there. And then we have Joseph getting up from laying down and walking home. And as he walks home, and we go to page 2, he kind of looks back at the scene where he had just been, and some of the sun rays. This is not, it has nothing to do with the pillar of light of the first vision, but it's just the light of the sun. It was a beautiful morning, are still coming through the trees. And he looks back and he thinks, that this story, if, I don't blame anyone for not believing this story, because I wouldn't have believed it myself. Thinks about that, comments about that. And so I needed to convey that idea with the image of him pondering, looking back and like, what did just happen to me?
And we went through several different drafts of his pose where Sal was trying to experiment with the idea of he's exhausted, right? He's established that previously, that he's really worn out. And for a strong boy like him, that's saying a lot, working long hours to be completely worn out like that. So we had different levels of exhaustion, and we finally settled on this where he's leaning on this one tree.
Yeah, he still has to hold on a tree in order to be standing. There's snow on the ground, okay? This is spring, but there's snow on the ground. And this is one of those elements that you don't see in other productions that have been done.
Yeah, so we have the weather reports for Palmyra in the area. They were found. And during that spring, you had snow and then warming and snow and warming, and this pattern of snowfall, even into March and April, they were still having snow. And those of you who are around thick groves know that the trees shade the area. So even though you have warming and sun, you still have areas where the snow doesn't melt because it's in shade. And so it ends up on the north sides of the tree. We know that during the early part of March, there was 23 inches of snow, which is a lot of snow. But it also becomes this beautiful symbol of apostasy and the cold days of apostasy, and that God's church was not on the earth. And so it becomes a symbol, although it was probably literally true also, of the thaw happening.
That's why I had this new growth coming out of the snow, and there's new growth everywhere, but this is right smack in front of it. Please notice me. I'm right here.
But Sal does a great job too of making it secondary to Joseph, because it's not the first thing you see. You don't see the new growth as the first compositional element. It's still him, but it becomes a second element, and it has the lead lines, as we call
directionally,
it. Directional lines back to Joseph.
And we also include the nature being awakened. So we have a little squirrel, a chipmunk. Yeah, it's one of the chipmunk, with typical of that area. And we have the birds, in the sky. So this is the opening scene of our book.
And there's the little maple collection taps, the little tin. They would have had tin cans, not cans, but they're kind of half circle cans that were nailed to the tree. Yeah, they catch the sap as it comes out of the tap. So little Easter eggs there. But we wanted to share that with you and hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, Andrew and Sal. That was really interesting to hear the historical background and what was behind the composition. Thanks. Okay, next we're going to hear from Carolyn Pearson. We'll be reading from I'll Walk With You, a video of her doing that. Carolyn is well known in the LDS community for her poetry, which first appeared in 1967 in Beginnings, and most recently in a new book titled Finding Mother God, Poems to Heal the World. A woman not unwilling to address challenging issues, in 2015, she published the hard-hitting The Ghost of Eternal Polygamy, haunting the hearts in heaven of Mormon women and men. She's the author of more than 40 books and plays, including autobiography, inspiration, humor, poetry, and fiction. Her memoir, Goodbye, I Love You, tells the story of her marriage to a gay man, their divorce, and her caring for him as he died of AIDS. She has written several plays, including the musical My Turn on Earth and Facing East, which opened off-Broadway and won an AML Drama Award. She was presented with the 2018 AML Lifetime Achievement Award, and she resides in Walnut Creek, California. And she's here with us, but first I'll go ahead and show the videos, and then she can say something she'd like. So there's actually an introduction. I'll show that first.
Hi, this is Carolyn Pearson reading to you my picture book for children, I'll Walk With You. Illustrations by Jane Sanders.
Second one.
I'll walk with you. If you don't walk as most people do, some people walk away from you. But I won't. I won't. I'll walk beside and match your stride. That's how I'll show my love for you. If you don't talk as most people do, some people talk and laugh at you, but I won't. I won't. I'll talk with you and giggle too. That's how I'll show my love for you. If you don't look like some people do, some people just look down on you. But I won't. I won't. I will see you're made perfectly. That's how I'll show my love for you. If you're not as young as some are young, some people think you're just no fun. But I won't. I won't. I'll listen to and learn from you. That's how I'll show my love for you. If you were born far, far away, some people think you should not stay. But I won't. I won't. I know you bring such interesting things. That's how I'll show my love for you. If you don't pray as some people pray, some people pray you'll go away. But I won't. I won't. We're all, I see, one family. That's how I'll show my love for you. If you can't buy expensive stuff, some people think you're not good enough. But I won't. I won't. I'll look inside where treasures hide. That's how I'll show my love for you. If you don't love as some people do, some people think your love's not true. But I won't. I won't. I'll watch you share. I'll see you care. That's how I'll show my love for you. If you don't think as some people do, some people have no use for you. But I will. I will. Our thoughts will play and stay all day. That's how I'll show my love for you. I'll walk with you and talk with you. That's how I'll show my love for you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn, do you want to say anything else?
Oh, no, I'm just happy to be here with all of this exciting excellence going on. And I'm grateful to have you let that book take its part here. Thank you.
We're so honored to have you with us, and such an important part of Mormon culture, Mormon letters. And so that was, of course, a primary song that you had written. It's in the primary songbook. And were these, did you write new verses to it, or were those originally in the version that you had and they just were not in all the verses in the songbook?
When the primary was ready to publish their songbook, that back in what, 87 or 8 or something, I received a call from a member of the general board of the primary saying they needed one more song before they could send it to the press. And they had tried this and that, and they couldn't get anything to work. And I had become quite well known at that time because my little book Beginnings as a fluke became really a major event in Mormondom. And so they said, I'm calling to ask you to write that song. And it has to be about including everybody. And so I came up with that lyric and they loved it and they sent it to Brother Nibley, Reed Nibley, who did the music. And I did keep the commercial rights. So when my publisher at Gibb Smith, Suzanne Gibb, told me that she had a thought to take that little song, which had become very popular in primary and even among LDS adults, to extend it into a picture book. That had never occurred to me. But as I worked with it, I thought, well, this really does work. And the book has been very well received. So thank you for giving it a moment tonight.
Great. Thank you. Okay, our last video will be from Kristen Crowe, reading from All Aboard the Midnight Train. Kristen is the author of numerous children's picture books, including Zombolina and Zombolina Dances the Nutcracker, which previously won the AML Picture Book Award in 2015, and Hello Hippo, Goodbye Bird. She has received starred reviews from School Library Journal and Publishers Weekly, and won a blue ribbon from the Bulletin of the Center for Children's Books. She's not here with us today, but she sent a video, so let me grab that.
My name is Kristen Crow, and I am the author of All Aboard the Moonlight Train, and we are going to read it now. I'm here with my grandson and my granddaughter, and I'm going to share the story with all of us. Would that be good? Okay. You want to hear the story?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. All Aboard the Moonlight Train.
This one.
Illustrations by Annie Wan, and she's amazing. Okay, here we go. You see the little boy?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think he's doing?
He's grabbing a ticket.
He's getting a ticket. This is so exciting. Okay. If you're restless and can't sleep, come explore the jungle deep. Where the beasts and critters creep, all aboard the Moonlight Train. He's got his socks on because he was in bed sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever sleep with your socks on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And where's that lion?
He's got a little lion in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
There's a toucan at the gate. Takes your ticket, checks the date. March aboard, wild things await. All aboard the Moonlight Train. Do you see the toucan?
With that.
The bird and the little boy?
Dad.
He's got a ticket in his hand. Engine chugging through the trees. Hippos nodding in the breeze. Spy some hiding chimpanzees. All aboard the
Moonlight Train.
Yeah.
It's like a bird and hippo go, ooh. Like
Bird and
that.
hippo. Are the stars out? Go and check. Climb up a giraffe's long neck. It's the perfect lookout deck. All aboard the
Moonlight Train.
Yeah. See the stars shining in the sky?
Yeah.
Winding under sparkling skies, waterfalls and fireflies. Watch for bats with glowing eyes. All aboard the
Moonlight Train.
Yeah. Next, you meet the engineer. Sound the whistle, test the gear. Help make sure the tracks are clear. All aboard the Moonlight Train. Nice. Hungry for a midnight snack? Try the mango pancake stack. Warthogs serve it piggyback. All aboard
The Moonlight Train.
the Moonlight Train. Zebras lead you on a trot to their favorite sleeping spot. Dive into a cozy cot. All aboard the Moonlight Train. Nice. And this is one of my favorite pictures. Soon a lion brings a book from the bedtime story nook. Snuggle up and take a look. All aboard
The Moonlight Train.
Listen to hyenas croon. Owls are hooting to the moon. Rhinos hum a sleepy tune. All aboard
The Moonlight Train.
the Moonlight Train. Looks like got some hyenas and rhinos.
What are those?
Those are hyenas.
What is another hyena?
Looks like they're getting a drink of water, huh? But before you start to snore, shh, the train stops at your door. Come back soon, explore some more.
Why is the boy falling down?
Look, looks like he's giving the lion a hug.
And is he falling down too?
I think they're all getting ready to say goodbye. Good night, Moonlight Train. You say good night, Moonlight Train?
Good night.
Good night, Moonlight Train. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Carolyn. Sorry, Kristen. Thank you, Kristen. And thank you, everybody, for staying up late with us. It was great to see everyone. It's wonderful to have these readings. We've done these every year after the award ceremony, but usually, but always just live, just whoever could be in Utah or Hawaii or wherever we actually had the conference. So this is great to have people from all over the world gathered together. Thank you from Japan, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for Andrew does so much work and are helping us put our awards together. He is the go-to man to know what's going on in the world of Mormon Lit, just in general. And it's so great to be able to benefit from Andrew's great contribution to AML. So thank you. And thank you to all of our fabulous readers this evening. And it's been such fun to hear this variety of work. And please join us tomorrow. We have two special awards being given starting at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. And then our regular award session will be a little later in the evening. Please check our website for the program. Thanks so much for being here, everyone, and for being active in the chat. And this has been really great. So have a good night. We're going to sign off.